Thank you for tuning into the L. Henderson Real News Show, issues, views, and solutions. The L. Henderson Real News Show is designed for you to listen, learn, and invest your knowledge and skills in your community. The show's format will be clear and direct. Each show will identify a problem. It will determine who benefits from the problem. The show will also determine who is the victim. And finally, we will show you how to create a prioritized action plan for success that can change your life, family status, and community in 30, 60, 90 days guaranteed. The L. Henderson Real News Show will identify, address, and teach you how to resolve problems in education, economics, politics, religion, community development, and local, state, national, and international affairs. So I want you to stay tuned for the L. Henderson's Real News Show. Hello, viewers. I want to thank you for tuning in to the L. Henderson's Real News Show. We will discuss issues, views, and solutions that can change your life, your status, your family, and your community in 30, 60, or 90 days. All you need is a prioritized action plan for success with a checklist, a timeline, and a project manager, and of course you're going to need 3 to 5 team members that are focused on reaching your goals. If you do this, regardless of the fact or the problem in your community, you can start attacking it and changing it in 30, 60, or 90 days, guaranteed. I'm not going to beat around the bush and give you a lot of propaganda like some people that I like to talk about, and I'm not going to mention their names today, but I have a guest today, a man that has a plan, a man that has a vision, and I guarantee you, when you hear what we will be discussing today, you'll say, well, I'm going to have to get on board and help some of these things happen in the great state of Mississippi, the nation, and the world. So my guest today is Mr. James H. Meredith. Mr. Meredith, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
I'm proud to see you. Now, I have some questions for you, and I want you to do as you always do, give an expert answer and let the people know what they need to do to change their lives and their families in 30, 60, or 90 days. Now, the first thing I want to consider, and I'm just throwing this out at you, this is going to take us back a long time. The viewers have been knowing you for at least 80 some years, those that are old enough to do so. And as a loner, the smartest and the bravest man in America in 1962, you enrolled in what I call the most racist university in the United States of America, the University of Mississippi. Now, some historians say that it wasn't about civil rights, it was about citizenship. Now, how would you address this statement 53 years later?
Well, that's exactly correct. My goal was to enjoy all of the rights and privileges of citizenship, of which every person born in the United States is entitled to. So that is correct, that my attendance at Ole Miss had nothing to do with civil rights. It only had to do with the exercise of my rights as a citizen.
Okay, now if you look at it, Mr. Meredith, it appears that you were the only one to really think that, and a few members of the NAACP and others. And the reason I'm saying this, I saw on television where they killed folks up there. They caused the county in that area to spend over $2 million fixing the campus. They had you moving around under guard, and at all times you appear to be calm, worried about nothing, and at the same time you did your job and graduated on time. What kept you focused?
It wasn't a matter of me doing my job. It was a matter of the United States government for the first time doing its job. And that's, most people understand Ole Miss the way you just described it. But that's not what happened at Ole Miss. What happened at Ole Miss, James Meredith and his army, which was a United States Army, who is supposed to enforce the rights of citizenship for every citizen, for the first and only time, were used to guarantee the rights of a non-white in the state of Mississippi. But the historians have made it look like I was the one being abused. What people don't know about Ole Miss, it was under military occupation. And the white folks said, we can't let the world know that this happened to us. We gotta still keep it looking like we mistreated the blacks. Now, it was about citizenship, and for the first time in my lifetime, to my knowledge, any black enjoyed all the rights of citizenship backed up by the military of the United States.
Well, are you of the opinion that this is probably the only way it could have happened back in 1962 with the United States full force?
That was the only way it was supposed to happen. I mean, you understand, the whole concept of civil rights is like when a black enjoy the rights of citizenship, somebody's done them a favor. Nobody could do me a favor. I was a citizen by birth. The only thing that anybody could do was maybe use force to keep me from enjoying my rights. But no one had the right to keep me from enjoying my rights.
Okay, well, it sure appears that you were successful. Now let's look at another matter that is very, very important in America. Now, do you believe that it's time to recognize and accept the fact that Dylann Roof, the young white terrorist, racist, and mass murderer that walked into a black church and killed 9 folks, is similar to the gang members, and I'm talking about gang members throughout the United States, that open fire and kill their home rats or comrades because of rival colors on a weekly basis. We're going to edit this out. I'm going to do it again. I'm doing it again. Do you believe that it's time to recognize and accept the fact that Dylann Roof, the young white racist mass murderer who walked into a church in Charleston, South Carolina, that killed 9 people, and at the same time you have gang members who openly fire upon their friends just because of rival colors on a weekly basis, and very little is done about it after the funeral?
It is a situation of not knowing right from wrong, good from bad, and that is not only Dylann Roof's problem, it is a bigger problem for the black youngster, because we don't teach them right and wrong, good and bad. And that is what we are going to have to start doing as a people.
Okay, now you know that's a major task, sir. That has not been done in the history of America. We have not taught the young people right from wrong in a long time on a consistent matter. So let's look at this, and we're going to get back to this. It appears that you love Mississippi. Now, this is where you were born, you were raised here, educated here, ambushed, shot, hated, and loved by many, but still today you hold this state dear to your heart. Now, the bottom line is, how are you still here today in 2015, and why?
Well, my God tell me the reason he's keeping me here, I hadn't done my job yet. And I promised him this morning that I was going to do the job today. That is to tell the black people in Mississippi what God's plan is for us as a people.
All right, now you're getting ready to get on a hot topic now, Mr. Meredith. Now, if you want to know what the plan is, listeners, I want you all to get ready to hear the real news. I want you to think about it. I have a question, sir, that's going to address that. I understand you do have some major responsibility. What is God's plan as you see it?
My divine responsibility is a mission from God. In 1960, after 9 years in the desegregated military, I came back to Mississippi with a plan to destroy the system of white supremacy. Today, 55 years later, in Mississippi, we have a moral breakdown in the black family, in the black neighborhood, in the black community, and especially in our public education system. Mississippi blacks can solve these moral problems.
Okay, Mr. Meredith. You say they can solve it. They haven't done it since 1619. What do they have to do in order to do it?
The black Christians, through the black church, have the power to rectify these things. When things fall apart, how to put them back together again. Number one, prevention is better than cure. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Number two, it takes the whole village to raise a child. Number three, you should train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. Number four, God's plan. The way to teach a child right and wrong, good and bad, and how to apply these principles to life is to teach every child the 10 Commandments and the golden rule between birth and age 5. Number 5, the black church in Mississippi is the answer. Number 6, every black in the state of Mississippi live within walking distance of a black church. Number 7, every black church in Mississippi should take responsibility for finding every child living within 2 miles of their church and teaching them the 10 Commandments and the golden rule by age 5. Number 8, every black elder and church official should ask themselves every day the 2 questions. Is the black church fulfilling its mission? Are black Christians following the teachings of Jesus Christ? God told me that's his plan for Mississippi, and Mississippi is the center of the universe. And if we establish a new focus for the black race of good and right, and we establish that, we will be God's chosen people.
Okay, now we're going to be going into a break real soon, but now you are almost saying, Mr. Meredith, that the black church has failed its members. Now, this is what I know about this situation. Most preachers, most of them, want their members to give their offerings and their tithes, live in hell on earth, and then die and go to heaven. Now, what's wrong with this assertion?
Well, basically, what's wrong with the black church is tradition. The black church was started by the white church as a means of controlling their black workforce. Now, many traditions were established, and today no black church leader asks whether or not that tradition is the one that Jesus Christ taught or what God's will is. It simply, does it work? And if we do it the way they've been doing it and it worked, we don't owe nothing else. But God say we owe our children to teach them right and wrong, good and bad.
Well, it appears then that you have an agenda that we must discuss after this break, because I have some specifics as far as the 10 Commandments are concerned and the Golden Rule and what the problem is there. And as we prepare for this break, I want you to think about some solutions about economic agendas for these churches. Most of these churches don't seem to be thinking about helping their members other than taking from them when they need an economic agenda And when we come back, listeners, we are going to talk about it. So get ready. And I also want you to get to know that Mr. Meredith is available for speaking engagements. Later on, he's going to give you contact information. You need to hear him, folks, in person. You need to see him in living color.